G'day guys, Gaz here and welcome to take two. For some reason I just sat there talking to myself for 30 or 40 minutes previously and I didn't push record. So yeah, you learn something new every day, don't you? Everyone makes mistakes and that was it. So all that good content I just put out for the last 35 minutes, yeah, the only person that really heard it was myself and Penny laying over in the corner. So yeah, here we go again. Welcome to episode 3, season 2 of Gaz's Garage. How's your week been? Mine hasn't been as eventful as it was last week. No getting bogged, no blowouts. I've been pretty local, went to Warwick, went to Toowoomba, been in the office, things like that. Seen a few pretty cool things. Cotton starting to come off out in the west. The rain stopped out there, but cyclone's about to hit North Queensland in the next couple of days. Yeah, pretty ugly looking one coming through apparently. Wind gusts up to 300 kilometres an hour in the eye, but lucky it's only going to go over a part of Queensland, North Queensland, that there's a town of about 300 odd people there. So they're pretty well battened down the hatches and it'll make landfall tomorrow morning sometime. So we'll see a bit of rain come through from that, but that should be about it overall, I think. For down here anyway. Up there, different story. I'm actually heading up that way next week, Wednesday through till Saturday. I'll be in Townsville for the LRTAQ conference, which is the Livestock and Rural Transport Association of Queensland. Through Alamlube, the company I work for, we sponsor the association. We put up prizes at the auction for the Bull Carters Ball on Friday night. We also sponsor the trade forum and things like that as well. So I'll be there from Wednesday onwards. So yeah, if you're a livestock driver and listen to my podcasts, say good day. You know, come and say good day. I know a few of you do listen to it only because I share it with you and I do push the point, say listen. But hey, that's what it's all about, trying to build the community. So I keep getting asked, what is Gaz's Garage? You're not a workshop. No, I'm not a workshop. I'm a garage. I'm not a garage, but I'm in my garage, and I believe a garage is a place is a community. Like I'm trying to build up the community at Gaz's Garage, the shed crew, and so on. So basically, we get together in the garage. I'll come to your garage. We'll go for motorbike rides, take the scooter out, RC car racing, go-kart, speedway, golf, whatever. I'm going to organise events. Steaks with mates as well is another good cause. I've done a couple of those. I'll get Gaz's Garage crew and we'll go somewhere for a nice steak or a barbecue somewhere. A barbecue, not just a sausage on a barbecue, although we can do that as well if you want a sausage sizzle. That's what's more Australian than that, than a nice snag on bread. But I mean like a barbecue. Go to one of the barbecue joints and have eat meat and a couple of beers and a good laugh and a chat, and that's what it's all about really. It's the conversation. And that's what I'm about, is conversation. Yeah, I'm not the most sociable person out of ours. So this is my forum for my conversation, is to get it in front of the camera and just to waffle on for 35, 40 minutes and just, talk shit, shoot the breeze, whatever you want to call it. And discuss projects I got going on, discuss racing. I'm passionate about my motorsport. I'm a Speedway boy through and through. Started racing Speedway when I started going to Speedway when I was 6 or 7 years old. Started racing at 15. I've been involved in it ever since, whether it be as a mechanic, as a fan, as a driver. I got a tap on the shoulder quite a few years ago now, that's from a guy that I was driving with, and he was helping me out, and he said, you'll make a better mechanic than you are a driver. So I jumped out of the cockpit and worked in the pits, and I was been lucky enough to work with some very, very good drivers over the years. Some big names both in Australia and in the US, even in the karting fraternity. Worked with some really good young drivers who've worked their way up. And yeah, I enjoy working on the cars and working with drivers. They say if you can't, those who can't teach. So I was one of those ones who I was average. Like I had a few wins and I won a few heat races, a couple of top 3 feature races. I got Rookie of the Year in my first year. I won the B grade championship and stuff like that. So I got some trophies out of it. But as a mechanic, I've won more things. I've got 3 or 4 Australian championships in sprint cars as a mechanic. I've got a couple of national karting titles, all that sort of stuff as a mechanic. So I learnt at a middle age that it's probably better to be a mechanic than what it is as a driver, and I'd get a lot more out of it, and I did. And I really made a lot of good friends and got a lot of good stories, and that's what Gaz's Garage is going to be about moving forward as well. I'll have a bit of a yarn from the tracks, what it's like being on both sides of the fence, in the car and out the car, and things that you expect and not to expect. What makes a good driver, what makes a bad driver, what makes a good track, what makes a bad track. My favourite tracks, my not so favourite tracks, my favourite cars, things like that will all be part of the discussion of Gaz's Garage and things like that. We'll also, talk about some of the projects I've got on the go. I know I did a thing the other night on Shed Night, which is Tuesday nights for me, and I just do a short video on a Tuesday night of what I'm working on, and it's my pit trolley that I'm working on at the moment. It's still a work in progress. A bit of fine tuning to do, like how I'm going to set the wheels and tyres up and stuff like that in the bottom. The top's pretty well sorted. I'm happy with that. It's just the wheels and tyres is what the next part of the project is, how I store them and how I carry them, because the RC cars sit on the shelf without wheels and tyres on, and they are transported in the trailer without wheels and tyres, because they'll be hanging on the wall soon. So at the moment they just sit on the floor, but towards the end of this month, we're almost the end of March, so say April, around after Easter, I'll have the mounts made so they'll be hanging on the sidewall, so that gives me more floor space in the trailer. The trailer or toy hauler has now been completely gutted, and it's multi-purpose now. I can fit my bike in if I want to, the go-kart goes in on the floor, I can fit the RC cars in, I can fit a four-wheeler in, put the golf cart in, but the roof is a bit too high, so I'll have to drop the roof down to fit it in, but it fits in lengthwise, widthwise, and all that sort of stuff. So that's what it's set up for now, so I can virtually use it for anything. I can tow it along, I can throw my swag in the back, I can camp in it, it's got the awning off the side, got a pop-up marquee in it, blah, 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 blah. All my tools, all my spares, everything that I need for any of the toys that go in it are in the trailer now, and that's where it stays. So if I decide I'm going to take the go-kart out to the dirt track at Ipswich, at Willowbank on a Saturday, basically it's just load the cart up, in there, away it goes, throw my helmet bag in, off we go. Come home, pull it out. Everything's all the spares, so you're not running around looking for parts, tools or whatever. Toolbox in there dedicated to the go-kart. I got my RC toolbox. A spare toolbox in there as well with just stuff in it for everything, whether it be for the bike, for the four-wheeler, for anything like that, tent pegs, all that sort of stuff. There's in there, zip ties, race tape, insulation tape, you name it, it's all in there. And then I just, with the RC cars, I wheel the pit trolley in, put it in, strap that to the wall, hang the cars up, away I go. Done, ready to go. Fuel churns are in the bottom of the RC trolley, and there's one in there for the go-kart, and I just mix the fuel up as I get it. So that's the project. That's an ongoing thing as well. It'll continue to be fine-tuned like everything else I do. Back in my work ute it's a work in progress. I'm always chopping and changing and making things, changing the setup so it works better for me. And as you go, I spend a lot of time in my ute. That's my office on wheels, so I need everything in it. Now with a lot of my content that I'm doing as well, out and about, I keep gear in the car as well. I've got my drone that stays in there all the time, things like that. So if the opportunity arises, I'll film it. If I see something really cool, like I do see a lot of really cool stuff. Basically, a lot of my customers, a lot of my farmers, it's just like a giant sandpit or like Tonka toys on steroids. That's the real thing. So I get to see really cool things. I get to operate really cool things. I get to drive really cool things, and that's part of my job, and that's part of what Gaz's Garage is as well. As I'm passing on all that sort of stuff to you and things like that, and stories of the road, like last episode where I got bogged and blew tyres and stuff like that. No excitement like that this week, so it was really good. What else is really to add about Gaz's Garage that I already haven't said? yeah, like I'll keep going back to it's the community and things like that is what I want to build, and that's what it's. And the t-shirts will come. It'll be like a social club anyway. So $50 membership, and that virtually covers the cost of the t-shirt, and then we go from there. So $50 a year. I'll get the forms done up soon. T-shirts will be printed. So that leads me to my first shout out for the night for the episode. Bucked Off Apparel and Western Wear out at Dalby. For all your cowboy needs, workwear needs, whatever, equestrian needs, whatever you want, whatever the word you want to use for it, give them a shout. Jamie will help you out and her staff down there. They do t-shirts, they do caps. She also makes she's got an upholstery thing inside, so they make bags, like the travel bags in it that I use, the Gaz's Garage ones, those black ones that you see me carrying around. They're vinyl, they're strong as, they're all made in-house down there at Dalby, and she can custom make them to suit whatever you need as well, and little things like that as well that they do. And then the other side of the shop is the Alpha Hunting Supplies. That's her husband runs that, so that's all your hunting needs. And they also make all your dog collars, your dog protection harnesses, all that sort of stuff, all made in-house, all that done there. So it's all done locally. So if you ever need anything like that, give those guys a yell down there in Dalby. Always happy to help you out. Tell them Gaz sent you from Gaz's Garage. They'll probably charge you double, but we are working on a discount code. So stay tuned for that. In the next couple of weeks, I'll have a discount code for that as well. So they're my first shout outs for the night. Without them, I wouldn't be doing this. Like they keep me pushing along. They help me out. They're a great sounding board and things like that. So what else to expect from Gaz's Garage tonight's episode? We just touch on the week that was motor racing wise, Speedway in Toowoomba, AKC karting round 1 done and dusted out of Coffs Harbour. It's good to see the old dog still's got some tricks in him. Kip Foster got up and took the win in KA3 Senior. The guy is an absolute legend of the sport. Still getting around, still has a steer, and put it to the young guys. KA3 is probably one of the most competitive classes in karting. And yeah, for him to get in there at his age, he's 40 odd, mid 40s, I think, yeah. And to show the young guys up it was a masterclass that he put on. And you could see when he rolled out from Heat 1 that was going to be his sort of weekend, that if he didn't win it, he'd come awfully close. Great to see. Young Harrison Hoey got his first round win as team owner as well as driver. So that, gave them the confident boost. What he's done during the off-season and late last year was setting up the team with H Sport. He's a Tony Kart distributor or IKD distributor. It is just phenomenal. OTK, sorry. IKD is different, but you know what I mean. If you're in the karting thing, you know what I just got a little bit thing with all the letters, got them around way. But yeah, him and his family, what they can do and the results they've had over the years, his sister, just a great thing. And to watch him put back into the sport now, and he's got young Maxie Walton working with him, and Chris is helping him out as well, Max's dad, Chris Walton. And Chris is doing his own thing now as well, doing his driver coaching and things like that, and trying to get away from the big tent thing as well. So he's helping the mum and dad deals and that with their little 3x3s and things like that, and getting good results. Like he's a good teacher, and he'll if you need driver coaching, setup help or whatever, reach out to Chris. He's at Ipswich Kart Club most Wednesday nights for practice nights. He's always there. If you ever need anything, you just walk up and bounce an idea off him and ask him to take a look or whatever, and he's there to help you out. And a lot of knowledge, and won a lot of go-kart races and won a lot of championships. He run the Ute Series. So his experience, and even as a team owner when he was doing the Parallel deal and all that sort of stuff over the last few years, so he knows where he's at, and he's very handy to have on your corner. So that's the brief wrap-up of karting. I would go into more detail, but most of you guys, now the week's progressed, so, and you would have caught their podcast anyway, so all the results and that will be on there. So yeah, speedway wise, the 360 title has been running one in Toowoomba last weekend. Ryan Newton picked up the win. Whether you agree or disagree with the big names coming down to the 360 class to have a run and taking the title, will we see the Australia one on a car this year again? I don't know. Ryan's got a pretty full program with both here, and I believe he's going back to the States again for another stint. So in the 410, so I don't know whether we'll see the Australia one on the track. We didn't see it last year either after Lockie McHugh won it. So yeah, it's a hard one. I believe that section there, the 360 sprint cars are set up as an entry-level thing, and to see the bigger teams come down and to feel an entry, yeah, do I agree? Do I disagree? It's great for the numbers. It's great for the racing. It gives them laps. I understand, get laps where you can. I get that sort of thing, but I also would like to see the guy who won the title. I'd like to see Australia 1 be out and about. It's like when, the speed car and midgets and that, or speed cars, or I call them midgets still. An American wins the Australian title, we don't see Australia 1 running around in the car. It's like when McFadden won it a couple of years ago in the sprint car title, he went back to America. We never saw Australia 1 run around. When a local wins it, you still see it, Jock Goodyear, Lockie McHugh, those guys, you still see Australia 1 circulating around a track in Australia at some stage. That's the only negative I got about those guys coming down and running the 360 class and things like that. Some good drivers in the 360 category, and it just I think they got their nose out of joint a little bit by having the big teams come down and run the class as well. It's like it's like if in the go-kart, if you run out in the middle of nowhere and you're running around really well as a club racer, then the national team decided they're just calling through on their way. We've all done it in go-karts. We've over Christmas we've gone to different tracks testing and that, and we'd spent a couple of weeks on the road. Like we'd go down. We did Albury, we did Lismore, we did Lithgow, and then we show up for a club meeting down there, and we got national drivers running a club show, and the guys who were winning the club show all the time finished 5th and 6th to the top to guys who run nationals week in, week out. It doesn't do much for them, or doesn't do much for the sport. That's what I'm trying to say. AKC and National Series and that is the elite of the sport, and the guys, and you go there, even if you're not elite, you go there with the thing that you're competing with the best of the best. So whether you agree or disagree with me, that's that's your thing. That's what beauty about Australia is. I'm not going to execute you because you don't agree with me. Drop us a line, drop a comment whether you agree or disagree with my view on the top drivers, or the level 1 guys coming down to run level 2. It's just like it'd be like Michael Schumacher back in his day jumping in a go-kart again. Like that's that same sort of vibe. It's good for the sport, but it's not good for the sport. It's a hard line, and it's what do you do? Like you don't as a promoter of the section, do you not allow them to run? But you can't not allow somebody to run. As long as their car's legal and they're a paid up member, they can run. So there's have a think about it. Let me know your views on that as well. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. I could be one-eyed my views. So let me know what you think, and let me know your opinion as well, your view, and I'll discuss it in the next episode, or 2 or 3 episodes down the track. Or if you want to come along on an episode with me and have a chat, I am looking for co-hosts as we go along as well. So if you want to be my regular co-host, by all means, it'd be great. You don't even have to come to my garage. The way this thing works, you can sit in your office or your garage. I can sit in my office, and we can film an episode and upload it, and away it goes. You don't even have to be in the same state. Like, you could be wherever, and we can have a chat. I'm going to touch base with a few of my mates that are racing overseas, and that they'll be in their garage, and I'll be in mine. And admittingly, the time zone will be a bit different, but we'll have a bit of a chat and a beer or a coffee or whatever while we're talking, and yeah, just see how they're going over there. Got a few mates over there working as mechanics, and I got a few guys that I know racing over there still. So yeah, I'll touch base with those guys, and even some of the good local guys as well. I hope to touch base with them and have a bit of a chat with them. I'd love to get some of the leading supercar drivers and that on there in their garages and their projects. I see Toddy Hazelwood has released Todd's Garage now, which is about his project cars and his racing. He's one kid, oh no, he's not a kid anymore, one young driver that has done it and done it well and equips himself very well. He's the sponsor's dream to have as a driver. And he's just picked his niche now. He kind of realises he hasn't. There's no seats available for him in the supercar teams in a good team. So he's now aligned himself with DJR, and he's Brody's co-driver now for Bathurst and for the Enduros. And what a gig to have! Now he's just launched his own team as well for TA2 to defend his title, and he's just doing it the right way. It's not the A to B way. He's gone A to Z and then back to A type thing. He's taken a long way to get to where he wants, but he's done it his way, and with his partner Alice behind him as well, he'll make a great success out of it. He'll be a leading co-driver for the rest for the next 10, 15 years. Like you'd snap him up if DJR decide they don't want him next year or the year after. Any other team worth their weight in gold will be jumping on board and paying with their checkbook and writing a check to what he wants, because he just does it. He gets in the car, circulates to the lap that required, and because he's had main game experience, he knows how to mix it with those guys, and he's not scared. It's not like these young guys that have come up through a bit uneasy around the main game drivers, because he's done it. He's been out there and mixed it with them. He holds his own very well, and he's a good mix with Brody. And those two, like they've won a couple of races together already. So they've won Bathurst and that at Erebus. They'll go a long way together, those two. They'll be a Bow-Johnson combination for years to come. That's my prediction. My first prediction for this episode. There are a few more coming up as well. So my next prediction is for who'll win the Supercar Championship this year. Everyone will you'd probably think I've got rocks in my head, but I don't think Brock will win it this year. I believe next year is his year. There's still a few little things to play out that he's still got a few little boxes he's got to tick. He's won the most races last year. Don't get me wrong, he's ticked a lot of boxes. There's still a few things that the team need to give him to go that next step, and that he needs to have the maturity and the laps behind him to achieve. It will come. And once he wins that first one, look out, he'll knock J-Dub off the wall, because he'll have 5 or 6 before we know it. He needs this year as well as a building year and a character year. And I feel sorry for the guy. Like, he made a bad mistake at Albert Park. Yeah, we get that. But all these keyboard warriors and all these social, what about no social hate? Like, what's his ears got to do with his driving ability? They don't affect him. Like, what's his eyebrows got to do with it? Why get so personal at it when about the mistake? He stuffed up. He thought he was doing the right thing by gassing it to get out of the way. Didn't work out. He didn't finish the race. His crew had to work twice as hard to get the car ready and rebuilt to get in the container to leave yesterday to go to New Zealand. His dad drove the truck back as well, so they could, do it in get it done straight through without having to wait overnight. So, because their normal driver would have been up on hours. It's all part of it. Like, guys, just back off. Go easy on the social hate. You guys haven't been in the position to know what it's like for him to think. I haven't been in that exact situation. I've been in similar, but I haven't been in that exact situation. And let the guy, he got there on his merits, and sure, he had some backing and that from his parents, his family and that behind him, some financial backing coming through. But he's there because he's a driver and he can drive. Triple H see something in him, and they saw something in him at a very young age. Paul Morris saw something in him at a young age and worked with him. Paul's produced some mighty fine drivers, and he will continue to knock out drivers out of Norwell like there's no tomorrow. Like the guys that he's got working, even his son Nash, late starter, didn't do the kart scene, the whole deal. Come in as he was a bit older when he got into it, mucking around in the Hyundais and things like that. He's a mechanic. He's the good all rounder. Like, you need to be that as a driver now. It's just not sheer talent alone is a big thing, and driving ability, but you got to be marketable. You got to be mechanically minded to be a decent driver. You can't tell me otherwise. You need to have an understanding of a car. You need to understand the geometry and stuff like that. As much as they say you look at guys like Davey Reynolds and things like that you think, the guy wouldn't know. He can still talk to his engineer and give good feedback. And that's what you got to be able to do. Like, you need to have that, be able to communicate. You need to have that understanding of, the car's got to push, what's causing that push. Sure, the engineer will know when you say, hey, it's got to push in the turn one, it's doing this mid-corner. They'll know, that's what they're paid to know, and that's what they study to know. But you still need to have an understanding of what they're putting into that car to eliminate that problem, or you can tell them what you need to eliminate that problem. Each person's different. Each engineer is different. You look at Chaz Mostert. He's taken a couple of years to get on board with his new engineer. Him and Adam DeBore had a perfect relationship. Adam knew exactly what his language was. Chaz's language was. Chaz is very good at describing what a car needs, and he's got a great understanding of what a car needs and feel and all that sort of stuff. It comes through his karting background as well. So when you're starting go-karts and that, you learn to have an understanding of what changes does and what different inputs on the steering wheel do and things like that. And bringing a tyre in, and the tyre phasing in, phasing out, and tyre pressures growing. Go-karts, we don't have bleed-offs and things like that, like they run in Speedway and in supercars and things. So you got to be gentle on your tyre at certain places, on certain parts of the race. Otherwise, they get too hot, they overheat, they overinflate, and just changes the characteristics of the kart too much. And you don't have a front brake, so you can't use the front brake in a go-kart to pull you in and stuff like that. Like in supercars now, they've taken the balance bars out for your weight adjustments, things like that. So it's all brake adjustments. It's about the only thing you can change in the cockpit now. The rest has got to be done externally. I don't quite see why they did it, but they had a reason. It's like the wheels, they're going to control shock now, or damper. Control wheel, control brake package. So I get the cost containing, but it takes a bit of the fundamentals and the drivability or the reset ability out of the car. Because you come in with a full tank of fuel, you can change and get a full tank of fuel, but as the rear end lightens up, that's why you see the drivers when they're showing car footage, they're winding on the brake adjustment, giving it more front and more rear brake, depends on what part of the track they're on, things like that. So it changes the balance of the car for them and gives them more front brake into a corner, brings the nose down, or it sits the rear of the car back, things like that. That's the sort of thing. And that's the understanding that you need to know as a driver coming up through the ranks as well. You need to know what the changes make. And if your tyre goes off, you need to know the feel, if it delaminates, or if it's you need to know what it's doing and be able to tell the engineer what it's doing. They can see from the data and things like that what it's doing, but you still need to be able to relay what it is it's doing. The driver's not just the thing between the steering wheel and the seat, it's also the brains in the car as well. A bit of an oxymoron at times saying a driver's got brains, but hey, they do. And the good drivers have got a very good brain and a very smart brain. And you need mental endurance as well as physical endurance now as a driver. I couldn't get into a supercar. I couldn't even get into a sprint car now and roll off, 15, 20 laps. I struggle in a go-kart to do, because I haven't been in it. Let's face it, last year I did 2 races and a practice day. The year before that, not much. And then before that, I hadn't been in a go-kart for like 15 years. And you can't just hop in and expect you to be your neck. Even when I get on my motorbike now and go for a ride, if I haven't been riding for a couple of weeks, my neck is the first thing that I feel. Even when I'm doing long drives in the car, the neck starts to get a bit thing from bouncing around, because let's face it, the roads in southwest Queensland, particularly the Warrego Highway, it's like a boat sometimes, you're just constantly bouncing. But that's a whole other discussion. So it's all part, mental fitness, physical fitness and things like that is all part of the mix that you need to be a good driver in any form of motorsport. In any sport, you need to be fit. Let's face it. Even in darts, you need to be fit. You need to be mentally fit. So, to say to be an overweight athlete is a bit of an oxymoron, but you can still carry a few extra kilo. Like, look at Brody Kostecki. He's not a driver. His physique, like he's got a dad bod, basically, is what you'd probably call it nowadays. But he's mechanically smart. He's fit. And yeah, you take his size out of him. Like, that was the biggest thing that got me with my racing as well. Like, I would have loved to run Formula Ford and things like that, but I couldn't get a car that was big enough for me because I was just on 6 foot. And they're only designed for people that are, 5'5", 5'6". The odd brand did make a bigger car, but you'd be flat out getting hold of them. And so you kind of move away from that side of things. And that's why in my younger days, I didn't have a very big thing in go-karts because I wasn't built for a go-kart. I was a lot bigger. So I went speedway, and that's where you need a bit more muscle and a bit more a bit more upper body or a bit more core and things like that. But now it's changed as well, because now most of the sprint car guys getting around, the drivers of today, are all they're athletes. Let's face it. They are one of the strongest physically fit drivers that you think. To tame 900 horsepower and a 900 kilo car in a clay oval is no easy feat, believe me. People think it is, that you're only going around, but it's not. Like, you look at your throttle control, your brake input, your steering, the whole deal, everything that changes, the G-forces that you're at, it takes a lot out of your body. And how things have changed. Like, when I started racing Speedway back in 85, my first thing, I had a fiberglass seat, no better than my go-kart seat that I'm running there now. Now they're running full aluminium or carbon fiber containment seats. And how things have changed now with safety, it's come a long way. It's great, don't get me wrong, but it's taken a lot of, it's making it a lot more easy, not easier, it's more body easy now in the car. Like, when now you're strapped into the car, you've got your hands device on, stuff like that, you kind of get a little bit more lapse in your body shape, and you can be smaller now, is what I'm trying to say. You don't need to be the big burly guy that wheel a sprint car around anymore, because it's power steering. It's that light in the steering, it's not funny. And let's face it, it's only one wheel usually touching the ground, and you're steering by the rear of the car nowadays anyway. So that's how things have changed over the years, and that's why you won't see too many guys my size getting around in any form of motorsport. There's a few of us getting around in go-karts still, but we run Masters. But even that, my last race meeting at Toowoomba, the guys I got punted off for 11th. Like, man, I said to the guy when he came in, you would have showed me the nose one more time, and I would have let you have that position anyway. So yeah, I was trying to do it for enjoyment. He was taking it a little bit more seriously than what it was really meant to be. But that's him. He wanted to go racing. I wanted to go, and we had different views on how I think. That's why I do the odd bit of dirt now. It's good fun. It's nowhere near as hard on the wallet or as hard on the body either. And I don't have to be, if I don't want to run, I don't have to, I'm not committed. It's not like I'm going for points or anything like that. The RC cars are a bit different. I'm kind of hooked on that. That's my new favourite hobby at the moment. Running the 3 cars. I'll have a 4th, hopefully at the end of this year. I want to get a late model as well. So I'll have the wingless, the dirt mod, the outlaw sprint car, and a dirt mod, and that's my collection complete. And yeah, I'll be happy. I'm happy now, but I'm always like to try to do things, and I always do things well. Like, if you're not good, you got to at least look good doing it. That's the thing that I've always grown up, the mantra I've lived by. Everything that I've ever raced has always been well presented. To the thing with t-shirts back in the day, we only had t-shirts with the iron-on numbers and that, and they were picked whatever ironed on, and we got screen printed. And now I get shirts made. I got my custom made race suit. The wraps I put on my RC cars are second to none. I always try to stand out from everybody else with my stickers. presentation's a big thing with me. It's part of my OCD as well. It's always, the car's always clean and presented well. The trailer's always clean and presented well. My work car's clean and I present well. I'm always reasonably clean, depends on what I've been up to. Like last week, if you would have seen me after digging my way out of the mud and all that sort of stuff and changing tyres on dirt, muddy roads, I wasn't exactly the cleanest person when I got into Charleville that night, but hey, it was all part of the, I had to do what I had to do. But you've got to, if you like, you just take pride in what you do, and that's what you look at. All the top race teams, they all present really well. Even you don't have to have all the sponsors and all the stickers. Even a plain black car, as long as it's clean when it rolls out, and that's all. You'd be proud of it. Like I'm proud of my little RC team. I'm proud of the stuff that I knock out. Proud of my go-karting that I've done with Georgia, and that even in the dirt carts, we're the best presented kart out there all the time. And it was always clean and tidy, and we had t-shirts done, and we didn't spend a lot of money on the t-shirts. I didn't have a lot of money to spend back then on a racing. I did what I could with her to get her in. She wanted to do it, so I wheeled and dealed, and I did what I had to do to get her racing, and she enjoyed it. And we had a lot of good times on the road, a lot of good times away racing, a lot of good times in the shed. Sundays after racing, if we were doing dirt. And then on Saturday night, even stopping at McDonald's at 11:30 on a Saturday night after racing at Ipswich or Willowbank, and there with a couple of other teams having a good laugh and things like that. That was it. We created memories, and and that was all part of what it should be. That's where the motor racing kind of gets lost when you get to a certain point. It becomes a job. It becomes an obsession with some people, and I've had to have conversation with some dads in karting where I've worked for them as a mechanic and their kid and a driver coach, and their kid just isn't really up to the level to be running nationals, and you're sitting there saying that, hey, let's maybe rethink the national program for another year or so. Let's stick with club. And then you get a phone call that week saying that my services are no longer required because their father didn't like what I had to say about their kid, or we'd have, or it'd be being screamed at in the pits by the father because their kid crashed out. You got to weigh the things up, and I'm lucky I got broad shoulders and thick skin. I take it all. Like I haven't really lost the plot at a parent that I've worked with or worked for. I've lost the plot at a few parents that have had taken kids out that I've been looking after, and told them to pull their kids in the line and stuff like that, and what they did was totally unacceptable. So I am got strong beliefs that way, and I got a standard that I set for myself and people around me, and then I expect other people to come to that standard. When they don't, that's when I get narky, and that's when I can get a bit thing at people. Comes off at work sometimes too with people that I work with. I have been at the odd time been known to be a little bit aggressive, or my words are too harsh for the young people these days. I'm a bit old school when it comes to things. I say it how it is. I don't sugarcoat it. If you stuff up, you've stuffed up. Why did you stuff up? Let's not do it again. That's it. I don't mind you making a mistake. All I want is you to own your mistake. That's the way I was brought up. If you make a mistake, own it. Fix it. Don't do it again. If you make the same mistake 2 or 3 times, there's got to be a reason. Let's have a chat. Is it your training? Is it this? Is it that? Why did you make the same mistake again and again and again? What's going wrong? Why did you drop the ball? I give so much, and I expect everyone else around me to give the same effort. And that's where I get a bit narky at people when they don't, and I see that they don't. I don't like people just hanging on for the ride. You got to do some of the heavy lifting as well, guys. That's me. That's the way I was brought up. That's the way a lot of us my age were brought up, and that's probably why we sit back now and think that the world is in a bad way. Well, it basically is, unfortunately. There's no easy way to say it. The soft, woke generation that we got coming up, a lot of them now, don't get me wrong, there are some young people that do work their asses off. I respect them 100%. But then you get the entitled ones that they rock up for a job and they expect to be general manager straight off the bat. They don't understand that you got to work your way up in anything, any sport. You can't come to be, and you can't join a club and be number one straight off the bat. You've got to prove yourself. You've got to work your way through the ranks. You don't rock up if you're playing for the Broncos as a 18 or 16 or 17-year-old and expect to be captain and to be sitting in the number one spot in the dressing room and to sit at the front of the bus or the back of the bus. Well, I don't know what the pecking order is on the Broncos, where they sit on the team bus. But teams I've been in, the captain and the senior players all sat down the back, and the newer people sat down at the front. On tour, we had, we shared rooms, the newer players shared rooms. And we also, I learnt at a very young age in one of the rep sides, we also organised the laundry for the senior players on the tour. So they'd leave their training gear out, we'd go grab it, wash it and all that sort of stuff. It was all part of it. It's like when you're doing an apprenticeship, you make the coffee for the leading hand, you make the lunches, you go to get smokos, you clean the toilets, all that sort of stuff. It's all part of it. Young people now, if you tell them to go, say, hey, smoko time, rip around, get smoko orders for everybody. Nah, I'm not doing it. Nah. They'll get those or they'll go sit in the car. Gone are the days now, like I'm in and out of workshops a lot now with my job. I'm in and out of farm workshops. I'm in and out. And gone are the days where everyone used to sit around the smoko table, eating their lunch together or having smoko together, having a laugh and all that sort of stuff, discussing things, whatever, problems, whatever. Now you see it, one place I go to regularly, come lunchtime or smoko, boom, they're gone. They're sitting in their cars. They're on their phones, looking at social media, blah, 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 doing Tinder, whatever. They're not sitting as a group, and there doesn't seem to be that sort of attitude anymore, that sort of bonding in the smoko room. Like even when I was at some of the big dealerships I worked at when I was a bit younger, like at Southside Ford, we had the lunchroom upstairs. A lot of people went up there and they had their group up there that they'd watch Top Gear and all that sort of stuff. And then there was a group of about 8 or 9 of us that would sit down the back corner of the workshop, and we had our RC cars, or we'd have a project car or something that then we'd be talking about, or we'd be doing bits and pieces, or we'd be in the fabrication area making something. But we'd have our groups. It was never one person sitting by themselves. That we don't do anymore, and that's what breeds a lot of the issues, I think, down the track, is you don't have that network around you. You could call me a hypocrite, because come the weekend and nights, I'd spend a lot of time on my own on weekends. If I don't have to go out, I won't. I'd rather stay home. I spend that much time with people during the week, and it drains me at times to be on, as the word, turn myself on, to be switched on to do my job is draining. And when I get home at night, I just want to be on my own, or on weekends I'd rather lay in my room and watch TV, or lay on the couch, or be in the garage here, just chilling out, looking at something, or moving something around, or doing something. That's, to me, is how I reset myself and keep myself at the level. It's a problem I've got, and it's a problem I'm working on, is how to be more social. I used to be social. Years ago, I used to be, centre of parties, always up for a laugh, always organising group gatherings, hiking, whatever. And then I had my meltdown, I'll be honest. I had a breakdown, and I pushed everybody away, and I went into my shell, and I'm struggling to get out of the shell now. I've built walls around me that are that high, I struggle to get out of. I've got a good psychologist now. She's helped me out. I got a great GP, and between us, we're working on things. Gaz Garage is part of the process of me knocking the walls down and getting over the wall, getting myself out there, building a community, and the community is just like-minded people like myself. Whether you're having your mental issues, the demons, whatever, I don't judge. I'm here for you as well. Happy to listen, happy to help you work through it. Even if you don't want to talk directly about what's on your mind and things like that, just getting in the garage. Some of the best times I've ever had is being in the shed with my mates, working on a car after we've torn up a race car the night before. Like if we're on over Christmas when we do Speed Week and stuff like that, it's from the minute we roll out of the track on Boxing Night till I think second or third week of February, it's just 2 or 3 nights a week. We're at a racetrack, we're working. If you tear up a race car, some of the best nights we've had is when we've been under the pump and get things done for a quick turnaround. We've all been under pressure, but we've still had great fun doing it. I remember one night we were down at, I forget which track it was in the saloon cars. And we tore it up. Murray crashed on the last corner of the last lap of practice on the Saturday and stuck the Commodore into the fence pretty heavily. And we worked pretty well all night that night to get the car on the track for the next day. Like I got a tilt tray in, and we used that as our straightening jig. Basically, the guy that I got hold of was good. We put the car up on the tilt tray, tied it down different points, pulled it all straight, put all the panels, got it all going, got the car going. Raced next day, finished racing, put the car on the truck, and drove home from Sydney. And had an absolute ball. Like, that was a great weekend, and two of us got done for speeding on the way home. Pizza, the van we picked up, the rental van, had like 11 kilometres on it when we picked it up, and had 2,500 and a diff wine and that when we dropped it back. But man, it was a great trip. And they're the sort of tales I'll be talking about in later episodes of Gaz's Garage. And hopefully I'll have some of my partners in crime at the time along, and we can shoot the breeze and talk about those stories. So that's about it for me for tonight. Hopefully I've recorded it this time. I really hope so. Otherwise I'm going to have to sit here for another 45 minutes and talk to myself. But like I said, if you like what you hear, subscribe, share it, drop me a line, leave a comment, whatever, please do. My shed door's always open. It's okay not to be okay, and talk to your mates.